This beautiful tree I am standing beside and under is a Norway spruce, Picea abies. As the name implies, it's native to Europe. So here where I live in North America, it's not native, but fairly common. A lot of people plant it because it's such a beautiful tree. It spreads around a little bit on its own, but I would not consider it invasive per se. Fairly easy to learn to identify. Has a much larger cone than our native spruces. That's pretty distinctive. And like all spruces, it has leaves in the form of needles, individual needles coming out from the twigs, and they're kind of prickly. Spruce needles are a little prickly when you press down on them. The other thing that makes the Norway spruce distinctive and fairly easy to learn to identify is it has this growth pattern. You can see it behind me, where a lot of the branches hang almost vertically down. It creates this beautiful appearance, and the overall shape of the tree is very conical, which you can't see, because I'm just standing right under this one, but you can learn to identify them from a pretty big distance. One really interesting thing about the Norway spruce, this is one of the plants I like to highlight when I talk about plant intelligence research that's been published, as well as aspects of the common mycorrhizal network and how plants interact with fungi and with each other in the soil underground. And there is published research from Europe showing that the Norway spruce actually utilizes the common mycorrhizal network to share carbon from photosynthesis, as well as nutrients, calcium and other minerals in the form of electrolytes, with other trees in the forest in which they live. Other Norway spruces, but in fact other species of trees as well. It's amazing. We know this is also true in other places. Suzanne Simard, for instance, out in the Pacific Northwest, has shown this to be true with the Douglas firs that grow out there. It's probably everywhere, right? Science and scientists tend to be cautious about things, which is understandable. So they'll be careful with making broad claims. But to be honest, if I were a betting guy, I would bet that probably all trees, or at least most trees, do this. This is probably just common, and we've only just started looking for this in the plant world. So modern science, Western culture, Western science is finally catching up with some of this really fascinating, interesting recent research with thousands of years of traditional and indigenous wisdom. Forests are communities. Plants are social beings. Beautiful tree. Sure, there's competition. We don't need to overly romanticize things, but there is far more mutualism and symbiosis among the plant world and in general ecologically than Western culture at least has recognized. So some of this research really jazzes me up, and just a beautiful, beautiful tree, one of my favorites.